Hey there. Welcome to what I believe will be the start to a wonderful series. This program I've opened right now is called Stud.io, or Studio, and is a wonderful free program where you can build Legos. There's more functions within this program other than building Legos, but it is focused primarily on the Lego aspect of it. I found this program recently and immediately downloaded it, as I always loved building Legos as a kid and thought that this program would help me relive those times while allowing me to keep my money. These sets that I plan on building are not cheap, so having the opportunity to build them, even if only virtually, has got me very excited. These first few videos will be the build of an AT-AT, the classic walker from the Star Wars movies. Despite the mostly gray color scheme, I quite like these big metal dogs. Anyways, that's enough of me rambling. I hope you enjoy these videos. Alright, as we get started with this AT-AT build, I want to go over a couple things. So first of all, this is not the only program that I'm going to be using, or the only resource that I'm going to be using to build this set. I have a couple of different resources that I was able to get a hold of, and all thankfully for free. The first and most important of which is this app on both Android and Apple or iPhone, I suppose, that allows you to get access to all these different Lego sets instruction manuals, which is fantastic, because otherwise I would have no clue how to build this thing. But just that alone was not enough, at least for me. I don't have the knowledge about the various Lego pieces, because there's a lot, as you will see throughout this build, that you'd have to memorize to be able to do this just by sight, at least in the manual. The other resources that I was able to use were this website called brickset.com, which is where I had access to the part list for this build, so I was able to look up the parts by number and search them out by color and all of that. It was very, very, very helpful. But then there's this other website, Bricklink, which I eventually wised up and started using. It was what let me find out alternate item numbers for these pieces, because sometimes the Brickset item numbers were not correct, at least not relative to what Studio had in its system. And so I had to deal with that using Bricklink, which I eventually did. It took me a while to get there, but that means that in these first parts, I had a lot of instances where I just sat there doing nothing, searching for a piece for what seemed like a half an hour, but it was probably only a few minutes of just looking, trying to find something. Right now, this first step that we're doing, it is the primary body of the AT-AT, so that big metal box in the middle of it that connects the head to the legs. And this is going to be the internals of the body for now. The external plating comes later on in the build. Yeah, as you can see right now, I'm just searching for an item. One of the pieces, I just could not find it for the life of me. It's looking through the various tabs. There's quite a few tabs in there. One of which I think I frequented the most was probably, I think there was two that I frequented the most, and that was plates, which are the pieces that you're seeing right now. The one that I colored black, that's a 2x4 plate, and the one that I colored the dark gray is a 1x2 plate. So plates, very, very frequently used. And then Technic pins I used a lot. And those are those blue and black pins sticking out of the side. Those pins and axles are very, very heavily used in this, as well as hinges. As with the plating that you'll see later on, it had to turn, essentially pivot on an axis. In this case, it was those hinges. Alright, so in this part, I'm flipping over the AT&T's body so that I can work on the underside of it, whereupon I'll put in this latch that, if it was in real life, it could move pretty easily. In this build, I will not be moving it because I don't really have a need to. There were some minifigs and other like accessory parts for this build that I didn't do, just because they were a pain. And this specific one was especially a pain. It involved something that'll show up later on, this string that would have attached, or I suppose it won't show up later on. There's supposed to be, in the real life build, a string that gets attached to this mechanism inside the AT-AT, but I ended up putting the mechanism in because I was following the instructions, but then finding out that there is this string involved, I decided that I would not deal with it until I had a better idea of how to use the flexible objects within Studio. But this latch is the same latch that in episode 4, Luke shoots the grappling hook into to disable the AT-AT from the inside with his lightsaber. I flip this back over, and I am just going right back into it. These pieces will eventually mark the beginning of what will be, I believe, the head, the front section of the AT-AT. I'm building up the back part of this, whereupon some things will sit and rest against, like the back tile. And now I'm making the primary frame where we will attach the hinges for the side panels that will come later. This big brick here, this frame, will have a bunch of pegs in it once we're finished with it. And these more pins, I should say. And these will attach to the panels that'll swing out. This section here was one of the first instances of me struggling to put a piece, an assembled piece, onto this AT-AT build. I was struggling for a bit, and then I realized, I need to turn it around. Eventually it'll show me figuring that out. Yeah, right there. But even then, it was still quite the pain to get on there in just the right spot. Doing it the next time was considerably easier. As we're coming upon this last section of the build for this video, I just wanted to thank you guys for watching this far. It means a lot for me. I'm obviously not used to this yet, but I hope to get better and progress through this video as well as other videos that I make. That's going to be the purpose of this channel, so thanks for sticking around, and I hope you enjoy what happens next. I'll see you guys in the next video.